Hey, welcome everybody. In today's tutorial, we're going to be recreating this shot with a blue screen in it. And it's basically 3G as the barber and 3G as the customer here in this little music video. And not necessarily just to recreate this shot. It's a simple shot with a blue screen, adding two people in it, but primarily to cover problem green screen or blue screen in this case. Because not every time are you going to get a perfect green screen or a perfect blue screen. Because in this shot specifically, we couldn't independently light the blue screen correctly. Additionally, our subject is super close to the blue screen because the blue screen is actually attached to this chair. It's just a portable blue screen. But when we get into it, you'll see what I'm talking about with the problem blue screen. So let's go ahead and delete this and let's create a new fusion composition. So new fusion composition. We're going to make this 4 seconds long. That'll work. And let's go ahead and pop it into our little timeline there. And then we're going to jump into Fusion. Now I did provide the footage that we're going to be using in this little tutorial for members only. And to get to that, if you go to the channel and you go over to the posts right here, you're going to see a whole bunch of members only posts with links to all the footage that we use in different tutorials and different projects. So you can jump over to the posts, and if you're a member, you can go ahead and select those links and download the footage for this tutorial. And once you have it downloaded, there's two pieces of footage and they're both B-raw. So let's go ahead and bring them in. So we got media 1 and media 2, and my media 1 here is the foreground image with the blue screen, and media 2 is the background with me trying to direct him what to do in this shot. But we're going to go ahead and trim this up. So on this piece of footage, let's go ahead and go over to the trim area right here, put in 891. So we're going to trim it up there. So we've got him walking into the shot saying, "Hey, what's up?" And on this piece of footage right here, let's go ahead and go to our trim, and we're going to type in 910. So we've got him saying, "Hey, go ahead and sit down." Cool. So let's grab a merge and let's bring this footage to the background, our blue screen footage to the foreground. Let's look at our merge. And if we go to our settings here and type in 0.5, just to double check to make sure our timing is good. So we scrub through, he's saying, "Hey, go ahead and sit down." And then he's walking into the shot and sitting down. So there we go. We've got our timing right. We're good. So back to the merge in 1. So as I said, all this footage is B-raw footage. And to be able to use the delta keyer, we want to introduce a little more color. And even though there's actually more color in our little B-raw, there's more color information. The delta keyer doesn't work that way, so it actually needs those colors. So let's go ahead and hit shift space, add a color space transform. And on our color space transform, we're going to select Davinci wide gamut and Davinci intermediate for our input gamma, and then our output Rec 709 and linear. And it's a little dark, so let's go ahead and apply this inverse OOTF just to brighten it up a little bit. And it really doesn't matter because we're not using this coloring, because we're going to hit Control C, Control V, and we're going to paste that after our other footage. Hit Control V again, and we're going to put that right before our media out, and then go from our merge into our color space transform. And on our color space transform before our media out, we're just going to select this swap. So now if we look at our media out and our media in, our colors are all the same. So when we go back to our edit page, now we can color grade in the grading tab appropriately. But within Fusion here, in between, we've got all this nice color data for our delta keyer. So speaking of delta keyer, let's go ahead and add one. So shift space, delta keyer. Now, as I said, this blue screen is horrible. And because of a few things. One, we've got all these reflections, so we couldn't light it correctly. Because if we added a light, that light would be in all these reflections. So our blue screen is not lit correctly. Let's go back here. Additionally, you never want your subject this close up to a blue screen because of the shadows, but because of the shot and because of the scene, he had to be right up on the blue screen. So we've got all his shadows in there as well. Additionally, this shot with his practical lighting he has in his barbershop is super bright and not great coloring, but you got to deal with it. So it is what it is. But like I said, you're always working with bad screens and bad stuff. Because additionally, we have this border of this little blue screen that's still in there. So we're going to have to get rid of that as well. So let's go ahead and look at our Delta key here. And to key out, let's switch this to alpha. So I'm going to switch our little button here. I'm going to grab our little color picker and we're going to pick a key. So let's just pick something. And that looks about right. And as you can see, because we couldn't light our green screen, there's a lot of our blue screen. There's a lot of noise on our blue screen, but no biggie. We can get rid of all that. So next thing, we can go over here to our matte and we can change our threshold. So we can pump up our threshold to get rid of all that noise and to kind of clean some of this stuff up over here. We can bring our high threshold down, clean it up a little bit, and we can scrub through and see what's going on. So we're going to have to get rid of all this and of course those shadows, but I'm also seeing in his logo for some reason we're getting a lot of stuff coming in. So we could go down here to the clean foreground and we can clean up that foreground, push that up to get rid of all that little stuff in there. We can also help this background a little bit by cleaning our background, but we just want to watch what we're doing to that matte around our subject there. So if we look, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. If we look at the two together, now we've got him coming in. There we go. It's looking fairly decent. Now, a lot of this stuff I really don't care too much about because he is moving pretty quick. So it's a lot of fast movement, and we're going to add some stuff because if we really dig in here, you can see this screen isn't too great. Where that blue's reflecting on his gloves, it's cutting his gloves off some places. But like I said, he's moving so fast. We really don't need to get into the weeds on this key. So if you're looking frame by frame trying to get the perfect key, it makes no sense because this shot is 4 seconds long. It's super fast. And nobody is going to notice if his finger twitches out and on because of his glove reflection in the blue screen there. So especially like right there. So you can notice his gloves are flicking in and out because of that motion with that blue screen coming through. But you can't even really notice the blue when we play it back. Especially since when we finally go to our out, we're going to have raw footage that we're going to be color grading and fixing later. Anyway, back to our keyer. So first thing we want to do is we want to get rid of some of this extra stuff over here. So all this over here, we can use a solid matte to get rid of that. So we can bring it back to this first frame here. And we can create a solid matte going all the way around this to just encompass that whole area. We can do that by grabbing a polygon. And this white input is our solid matte input. So we can input that into our polygon. But we need to see what's going on. So let's look at our color space transform and let's create our little polygon here. Doesn't need to be perfect. We're just creating a quick little solid matte to go around all this stuff. So there we go. Now we've got a solid matte. And if we look, you can see we no longer have, if we look at our delta keyer, we no longer have those issues on the side. It's all just encompassed in our little solid matte. So the next thing we want to deal with is this little black line from the border of our little blue screen there. And to do that, we can create garbage mats. So we can animate a garbage mat to go around. Now you're going to have a lot of them because technically you can do one here switch it, do another one, animate it. So we can get rid of as much of that as we want. And the easiest way to do that is just to go ahead and grab a multi-merge, but just so you know, there's going to be some issues. So our footage is 4096 by 2160. If I look at our multi-merge, which is not going to show up yet until I grab a polygon here and input it to our background. If I look at our multi-merge, it's 3840 by 2160 because that's what our project is set up at. So if I was to, let's say, let's go ahead and input this straight to our little garbage mat, which is this gray input. And I go here and I create a little garbage mat on this. There, it's out. But once I plug this into my merge, into my little garbage mat, it fixed itself. Well, sometimes what's going to happen is this is going to stay at your project settings because my project settings are 3840 by 2160. But it fixed itself back to the original little resolution there, but sometimes it doesn't. So if that multi-merge doesn't switch back to the correct resolution of your footage, you'll have to go ahead and make sure you change that timeline to reflect correctly. Because like I said, my timeline is not that. My timeline is actually 3840 by 2160. So back to our little key. So on this polygon, we can edit this polygon. Let's go ahead and add some more. And I'm going to get rid of I'm going to turn off my handles because I don't care to have handles. So let's create a little garbage mat there. And there we go. That is good. I'm going to switch this to modify only, so I'm not adding more. So now if we look at our merge and not there, our little black line is gone. Let's go back to our delta key here, and on our polygon line, I'm going to soften this edge up a little bit because we're going to want that soft here in the future. And I'm going to keyframe my center here, and the rest of this is automatically going to keyframe. So what I want to do is I want to bring this up to where he's about to come back into that and add another keyframe. And now my next keyframe, I'm just going to grab all this and I'm going to lift it up and bring it down to where that is kind of out. And let's fix this to make sure everything's in. There we go. It's gone again. We can go to our next frame. We're going to have to lift these up. Like I said, this does not have to be perfect at all because he's moving so fast, we're not going to see a lot of this stuff. Go to our next frame. Bring those up. And you notice we've got it popping back in, so we're going to have to create another one. But what we could do is animate this one all the way through. And like I said, there's some missing fingers right there because the blue screen was reflecting on his black gloves. But on full playback, we don't even notice that. So I'm going to finish doing all this and fast forward it. And I'll see you when this is all animated and moved. So there we go. We've got that top bit done other than right there. Move that out a little bit further. So there we go. Top bit gone. And let's go ahead and fit. And let's look at what's going on. So you can see top bit gone. And you would do the same thing for this bottom part, which you can barely even really see, but it's still there. So you would want to come through and add, say, another one right here. So we could add another polygon node, input it, and make sure that's going into our actual input. Let's soften them up a tiny bit. So there we go. Modify only. Turn off our little handles there. And we would animate this as well. And completely bring it out. So it pops in. There we go. So there we go. That second little bit gone with this polygon. And you can see it's so fast. It's just animating, animating. And it's gone. And you do want to do the same thing with all this down here, because there's more of that down there. But like I said, this is honestly so fast. You probably wouldn't notice that, but I would still get rid of it. So this shadow right here is an issue. I mean, you could leave some of it as shadow on the chair if you wanted to, but I would just get rid of it. So if we look at our alpha here, look at our delta here, you can see we got the shadow. And it's the same thing. We could grab another polygon, pump it into our merge on our little garbage there, and we can get rid of all that. And again, with this, you would animate it as well. So you can just keep moving it out the way. And let's turn our handles off. So there we go. Better. But there's something going on right here with, it's that right there. So we should technically bring this down a little further there. There we go. All right. So now if we look, let's check it out. There you go. Shadows are better. Shadows are fixed. And all you really have to do is add more to get rid of this little chunk that's down here. So we could add another one. And there you go. You've got it all keyed out, ready for color grading. Just remember, we went from this crappy blue screen here to our key. We used one polygon right here to create a solid mat around that right there. And then we used multiple polygons with a merge to make little garbage mats around everything to get rid of extra stuff. So we finally got our little merge coming out. And that's how you pretty much fix keys. So you're never going to get a perfect key off usually one. Usually you're going to use multiple delta keyers on here, or different types of keyers on here. And there's other ways to get rid of some of this stuff. You know, you could use like magic mask and different things like that. But since this was black and there's a lot of other black in there, using magic mask on that, it's probably not going to help much. Or you could paint it out if you wanted to. But it's honestly just as easy to create these little polygons around there to create garbage masks and stack them up so you have multiple garbage masks doing their thing. And just remember, you can pull them in and out your scene as you want. And sometimes when I key, I've got 40 of these little polygons going on to get rid of stuff. But that's pretty much what you got to do to get the shots you want. And again, remember, don't get too in the weeds on getting rid of stuff that you're not even going to see when you play it back full speed, because we've got other things like adding our motion blur on here, so we can add motion blur on our stuff and it's going to blur stuff up. Plus, we're back to our raw right here, and we're going to color grade and add a bunch of stuff. So in this shot, you wouldn't even know it's really keyed unless you really, really look and see where we missed right here with that little black piece coming in, but it's really hard to see. But that is key and infusion with difficult green and blue screen stuff. So I'll see you in the next tutorial.